What's up, CEO Hustlers? Faviola, the CEO Hustler, always helping you boss up and rise. In today's episode, I am going to talk to you more about how to become an interpreter. Hey, Hustlers, Faviola here. Well, today I want to talk to and expand a little bit more with regards to how to become an interpreter, which is a question that I get asked many, many times. Well, first and foremost, as you know, in order for you to become an interpreter, you have to be fluent in 2 or more languages. That is being able to read, write, speak fluently. Okay. Now, many people say, well, you need a bachelor's, you need to be certified, you need this, you need that. Well, as we all know, we all start somewhere, right? So, first and foremost, being bilingual is okay. However, that does not make you an interpreter. And I think that's where many people get super confused. And many people say, well, I'm bilingual. Why can't I become an interpreter? Well, unfortunately, there's been so much throughout the years where people say, well, hey, you speak another language. Why don't you become an interpreter? And so many people, just like you and I, the way we started many, many moons ago, we started off with a dream, a vision, and we figured, hey, well, you know what? I can get into this industry. Well, before you do that, there's so many other steps that you need to take in order for you to be qualified as an interpreter. So one of the things that I always say is research, research, research. Get trained. I know that there's many locations and areas where training is not available. So for example, back 20 years ago when I first started with my career, there wasn't any training here in the local Sacramento area. So I had to become creative. And what I did is I went online, did a lot of research, did a lot of self-training, did a lot of reading, and basically learned the field that I wanted to get into, which at the time was basic medical, basic legal, because I had a previous experience and I knew the terminology. So that is the area that I wanted to tap into. But many of you don't have experience in any of those business sectors or areas. Therefore, you require a lot more training, understanding, research in order for you to be able to handle this particular profession, skill set, industry in accordance. And I know that many of you are struggling because of that. So when I say struggle, I mean that you are struggling, one, because you either don't have the skill set or you did not get trained or you're not very sure how to really pursue this career in a professional business manner. Many of you guys are at the mercy of agencies. Many of you guys don't know how to how would I say this? Don't know how to implement your processes, your procedures, and you hear me say this all the time. You don't know how to set your terms, your conditions, your rates. You don't know how to promote yourself. You don't know how to market yourself. You don't know how to position yourself in front of your ideal client. So there's a step process that I like to talk about and that I speak about a lot in my groups, in my blog, as well as my one-on-one training when I basically become your coach, your mentor, where just like anything else, you have to take those baby steps. You heard me say this time and time again. You got to learn how to crawl before you walk, before you run, right? You can't jump, you can't go from A to Z and leave the in between and expect a good outcome. So the things that I like to really share with you guys is, one, you have to know which business sector you want to tap into. Once you know which business sector you want to tap into, Then really understanding what other branches are connected to that sector and how to tap into them, how to get trained, what terminology you need, what sort of training you're going to need in order for you to really tap into that industry and really get the clients that you need in order for you to run a successful business. Step 2, really understanding and knowing your role, the interpreter role. What are you supposed to do, not do? Because many of us tend to, especially in the Hispanic community, as well as I think in other, oh my gosh, I've got tongue-tied here. In other regions where we become we tend to be very helpful. We want to help, we want to guide people, but our role as an interpreter is strictly being the voice. You don't want to get attached to your clients. You don't want to get attached to your customers' clients. And I think many of you are making that mistake where you go out to an assignment, you start handing over your phone number or your email, you guys start becoming buddies, and that's a no-no because you are running a professional business, you are in a professional industry, so learning to separate those is going to be super important, and you have to understand your role. The other thing is really understanding the difference between a translator and interpreter. Many of you who are working as interpreters, you guys still don't know the difference. Many of you started off as an interpreter, and because the economy goes bad or things happen now, all of a sudden you want to become a translator or you want to become an over-the-phone interpreter. That's all fine and dandy, but everything takes practice, training, understanding, and implementation. And unfortunately, many of you guys are making the mistake of just jumping these hoops and hoping that everything works out, which is okay. But you got to understand that by you doing that, you are basically putting the LEP at risk. Because if you don't understand, if you don't know how to do it, if you don't know what it takes, you are basically doing it for your selfish reasons. And sorry to say this, but you're doing it because now you're hurting for money, you're hurting for business, and now you don't care what you need to do, but you need to do something in order for you to provide for your family and not taking into account what you can do, what your skill sets can affect somebody else. And so that's another thing that you have to take into account. That's why if you have been following me for some time, then you're going to hear me saying this time and time again: preparation, planning. It is super important because you've got to prepare for circumstances that like the ones that we are going through right now. You got to plan on, okay, what if this happens? What am I going to do? And many of you guys are not taking this industry, this sector, this skill as a business. And that is the number one mistake many of you guys are making. Now, the other thing that many of you guys, are always asking, well, how much do we make? How much can we earn? Well, there's different factors that are incorporated into how much you can make, how much you can charge, because you can't expect to earn top level, rate when your level is at a starting rate. And, that I see that time and time again. Now, I speak from the heart. I am honest with you. I am trying to provide you as much as I can. And even though everything that I share with you guys has created a lot of animosity, it has created, even getting banned from certain, believe it or not, from certain social media platforms, because people can't accept and take my truthfulness, my honesty, the fact that I share the good, the bad, and the evil. And, people get offended to the point where, there's been organizations, because I speak out about, the good, the bad, and the evil of not only the industry, the organizations, the agencies, and the interpreters. And you know what? There's no fluff here. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. And I'm not going to sit here and try to make this seem like it's all fine and dandy, or that it's all, pretty and glittery. And no, because just like any business, just like any sector, there is going to be ups and downs. There's going to be good and there's going to be ugly. And unfortunately, this industry brings you a lot of pain and heartache. There is so much damn competition, and many people are not in acceptance with that. Many people don't know how to, handle the competition, and therefore they start bashing, they start talking, they start creating all of this nonsense and animosity, which is ridiculous. I was part of a hashtag, I want to say, that many of you guys know, where when I first started promoting it with all of my audience, everything was good. Everyone was praising me. Everyone was liking the fact that I was sharing all of the good. But the minute that I started sharing the bad and the ugly and the evil, then I started getting banned. I started getting reported to the different social media platforms. I started getting blocked and the whole 9 yards, which is pretty freaking pitiful. I mean, like, it's just pity. I can't even find the word to even say it. It's just childish, to say the least. Because if you can't handle the good, the bad, and the evil in this industry, then why even go into business? And what's even worse is when people start utilizing your experiences, your stories, trying to make them their own for their own selfish reasons, for their own, promotions or whatever the case may be. So therefore, you got to really, really self-evaluate yourself and really ask yourself, okay, is this an industry that I really want to get into? Is this something that I'm really and really ready and willing to take on the challenge? Because let me tell you, it's a wonderful industry. Besides all of the good, the bad, and the evil, it's great and it's amazing industry. It's a billion-dollar industry that it's just growing. And even when we come across these difficult and hard situations, such as the economy crisis back in 2008, just like this virus that we're basically going through right now, I'm still working. I'm still earning my worth. I'm still, helping others. I'm being the voice to those that can't speak, to those that can't speak the language. So if you really want to get into this industry, you really got to do it the right way. You got to set the right processes, the right procedures. You got to get trained. You got to really understand what it takes to become a professional interpreter. And no, you don't have to freaking be certified. And no, you don't have to join all of these different organizations. And no, you don't have to do this and do that. If you find somebody that you can connect with, that you feel comfortable with, that you can trust as your mentor, as your coach, as your trainer, and then, contract their services. Really, invest in yourself, invest in your business, because trust me, it's going to be worth it. It's going to pay off. But you want somebody that's going to be blunt with you, that's going to be honest with you, that's not going to, give you only the pretty and the glittery part. That's also going to give you the dark and the black and the ugly of the industry, because you have to toughen up. You have to be able to have everything in place, so when hard times come, you're able to boss up and rise. So enough of that. I got a little emotional and carried away here. But hope that you like my episodes. Hope that you continue to listen. I highly recommend and invite you to join my blog, to sign up for my YouTube channel, this podcast. It's all about, like my daughter says, sharing is caring. And if I can provide you with insight and information, everything that I've learned in my 20 years, not only operating as a CEO, agency owner, but also as a freelancer and entrepreneur, then more power to you. So everybody, let's get ready to boss up and rise.